They had been together for 3 years. During that time, she supported him through 2 job changes, a long family illness, and financial ups and downs. They lived together in a small apartment he had picked out. She never pressured him, but she made it clear early on she wanted marriage someday. In the first year, he said they should wait and get to know each other better. In the second year, he said his job wasn't stable enough. By the 3rd year, she stopped asking. He hadn't brought it up once. Her stepsister moved to the city at the start of that 3rd year. She had a new job, needed a place to stay temporarily, and ended up living with them for 2 weeks until she found her own apartment. At first, nothing seemed wrong. Her boyfriend was polite but distant with her stepsister. Then he started cracking jokes with her. Then staying up late, talking to her in the living room. He began mentioning her in passing small things like, "She's pretty sharp," or "She's actually more chill than I expected." She didn't say anything. She just watched. One night, she came home and saw them on the couch, laughing at something on his phone. It was nothing major, but it wasn't nothing either. Her stepsister eventually moved out, but the changes in her boyfriend didn't. He became even more distracted. He no longer made time for their weekly dinners or asked how her day went. He stayed out late. When she asked if everything was okay, he said work was stressful. She left it at that. She planned something special for their anniversary 3 years to the day since they became a couple. She booked dinner at the restaurant where they had their first date. She even put on the same dress she wore that night. He didn't show up. No text. No call. She sat at the table alone for over an hour before paying the bill and going home. When she walked in the door, she heard laughter from the living room. He was on the couch with her stepsister again. Her stepsister was holding a glass of wine. They were watching a movie. They both looked up when she entered. He said, "I thought you were working late." She didn't answer. Her stepsister looked uncomfortable and left quickly. She didn't explain. She didn't apologize. He tried to talk. Said he forgot. Said it wasn't a big deal. Said they could reschedule dinner for another night. She didn't respond. She packed a small bag, took her laptop, her keys, and a few clothes, and left the apartment. She didn't yell or cry. She didn't explain. She didn't tell him where she was going. She blocked his number, blocked him on social media, and disconnected from mutual friends. She didn't leave a note. She didn't tell her stepsister anything either. She took time off work, moved into a short-term rental in another city, and cut all ties. He didn't expect her to leave like that. He tried to call. He messaged her old friends. He even asked her parents if they knew where she was. No one had answers, or if they did, they weren't sharing. Within a week, she was gone from his life. That was the last time he saw her walking out with a single bag, not saying a word. After she walked out of the apartment, she went straight to a hotel. She stayed there for a few nights, using the time to figure out her next steps. She contacted a property agent and arranged to view small apartments in a different city. She resigned from her job via email and gave no explanation. By the end of the week, she had signed a lease and moved. Her new apartment was a furnished 1-bedroom, nothing fancy. It was on the 3rd floor of a quiet building. The area was unfamiliar but peaceful. She unpacked only what she needed. The rest stayed in boxers. Her old phone number was disconnected. She created a new one under a different carrier. Her social media accounts were deleted, not just disabled. She removed all photos, messages, and links that connected her to her old life. She used her savings to stay off the grid for a while. No posts, no status updates, no activity. She became invisible. Back in the old city, her absence was loud. At first, he assumed she needed space. He waited a few days. When she didn't come back, he sent texts. No reply. He tried calling. The line was dead. He messaged her on social media. All accounts were gone, or he was blocked. He contacted her friends. Most ignored him. One said, "She doesn't want to talk to you. Respect that." Her parents didn't respond either. He drove by their house once, but it was locked, with no car in the driveway. Her stepsister, meanwhile, stayed close. She began visiting more often, bringing food or dropping off things he hadn't asked for. He didn't stop her. She started spending nights there. Soon, she didn't leave at all. She brought her clothes, her makeup, her routines. It happened slowly but deliberately. He didn't make an announcement, but everyone could see they were now together. A few friends were confused. Others didn't comment. The explanation was unspoken. One left, and the other stayed. After about a month, the two of them made it public. A few photos appeared on his profile, her sitting on the kitchen counter, her next to him at a bar. People noticed. Some congratulated them. Some didn't. 2 months later, the engagement happened. There was no elaborate proposal. He bought a ring, gave it to her at home, and she accepted. A few photos were taken and posted online. One showed her hand wearing the ring. The caption was brief. He asked. I said yes. Within hours, the post had comments. Some were excited, others surprised. A few people messaged her privately, asking if she had seen it. She had. One of her former coworkers had forwarded the post. No message, just the screenshot. She saw it, stared at it for a moment, then put her phone down and got ready for work. She didn't reply to anyone. She didn't post anything. She didn't talk about it at all. The next day, she went to work as usual, came home, cooked dinner, and went to bed. In the old city, the engagement gained traction. The stepsister began planning immediately. She visited venues, emailed vendors, made lists. He didn't object, but he also didn't participate much. He nodded at suggestions, agreed to colors, signed checks. People asked questions. One of his cousins said, "Didn't you just break up a few months ago?" He said things moved quickly. Another friend said, "Are you sure you're ready for this?" He said yes, without hesitation. But in private, he began going through his old phone gallery. There were still hundreds of pictures of her. On trips, on the couch, reading a book, laughing, cooking, sleeping. He didn't delete them. He also read their old messages, ones she had sent over the years. Reminders, encouragements, jokes. He didn't respond to any of it, just scrolled. He asked mutual friends if they'd heard anything from her. Most said no. A few admitted she'd blocked them too. One friend said she moved, but didn't know where. Eventually, he stopped asking. The stepsister kept planning. Dress fittings, cake tastings, photo shoots. She posted everything online. A few people congratulated her. Others quietly Meanwhile, the woman who had left built a new life piece by piece. She got a new job at a mid-sized marketing firm. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills. She went to work, came home, cooked for herself, and kept to a routine. She didn't date. She didn't tell anyone about her past. When people asked if she had family nearby, she said no. She gave only surface-level answers. Occasionally, she would hear something secondhand, someone from the past messaging her new number. Someone forwarding a post. Someone asking where she had gone. She ignored them all. 3 months after the breakup, she had fully erased herself from their world. Back in her old city, things were quieter between him and the stepsister. The wedding date had been set. Invitations were ordered. But he was detached. When asked to choose a song for the first dance, he said he didn't care. When asked about vows, he said he would figure something out. He skipped meetings with the photographer. He postponed the tux fitting twice. The stepsister noticed, but didn't say anything. They had started arguing more. Small things, how he forgot to respond to emails, how he didn't smile in engagement photos, how he wasn't trying. He always said the same thing. I'm tired. She began accusing him of comparing her to someone else. He didn't deny it. He didn't confirm it either. He just stayed silent. Weeks passed. He didn't cancel anything, but he didn't follow through either. Meanwhile, the woman who had left remained gone. There was no explanation, no apology, no message. She simply disappeared and stayed, gone. In the new city, her life was structured and quiet. She had no one there who knew her past. She went to work, did her tasks, and returned to her apartment without distraction. The company she joined was mid-sized, with clear processes and no personal entanglements. She kept a professional distance from coworkers. She attended meetings, completed assignments, and never stayed beyond her required hours. The apartment was fully furnished. She had no plans to decorate. She only bought what she needed. She cooked simple meals, kept her space clean, and followed a routine that rarely changed. Weekdays were for work. Weekends were for errands, walks, or reading. She used her new phone number for work and bills only. She didn't give it to anyone from her old city. She didn't reactivate any social media. She used one email address, created fresh, for only essential communication. She had no interest in making friends or dating. When coworkers invited her to lunch or small get-togethers, she politely declined. When asked personal questions, she gave short answers and changed the subject. No one pushed. They saw she preferred space and respected it. She joined a local library and got a card. On Saturdays, she would pick up 2 or 3 books and return the finished ones. She borrowed quiet, factual books, nonfiction, manuals, reports. She didn't want stories, just content. She also joined a gym with 24-hour access, but she only went during early mornings when it was mostly empty. She used the treadmill, the rowing machine, and occasionally lifted light weights. She left after exactly 45 minutes each time. There were no photos of her past in her apartment, no mementos, no reminders, just clean surfaces, folded clothes, and a stocked pantry. Occasionally, someone from the old life would try to reach her. A message to her new work email. A missed call from an unknown number. She deleted them all without reading or answering. At her job, she quickly became known for being efficient. Her manager noticed she never made excuses, never missed a deadline, and never socialized. She didn't complain, but she also didn't smile much. She kept to herself. Within a few months, she was offered a minor promotion. She accepted without ceremony and continued working as before. Back in her old city, the wedding planning had stalled. He had stopped participating altogether. The stepsister continued alone. She spoke to vendors, sent reminders, and made final payments. He stopped replying to group chats about the event. When she asked if he was ready, he said, "Yeah, sure." Some family members started asking questions. One aunt asked privately, "Is everything all right between you two?" The stepsister said yes. She didn't elaborate. The bachelor party was canceled. He said he didn't feel like having one. He told one of his close friends, "I think I rushed into this." The friend said, "Then call it off." He said, "It's too late now." The invitations had already gone out. The venue was booked. The caterer was paid. He didn't back out. He just went silent. Meanwhile, the woman he had left behind was busy preparing reports for her manager's quarterly review. She had begun leading a project on content workflows and was building a simple internal guide for onboarding. She never mentioned anything personal during meetings. Her teammates assumed she was new to the city and wanted space. One coworker tried to ask her out. She declined politely. He didn't try again. Another coworker said, "You're really mysterious. We can't tell anything about you." She smiled and said, "That's just how I like it." Outside of work, she maintained her routine. She shopped at the same grocery store every Sunday. She did laundry every Thursday night. She read books, took walks, cooked, cleaned, and slept. Her phone stayed silent. One day, her manager asked if she'd be interested in transferring to a new department for a more technical role. It was a bigger challenge, more responsibilities. She accepted it without hesitation. She learned new systems, took online courses, and adjusted her schedule to accommodate longer hours. She didn't mind. She preferred staying occupied. Months passed. She didn't miss the old apartment. She didn't miss the conversations. She didn't think about what she had left. There was nothing to miss. Her new lease renewed without issue. She extended it for another year. In her old city, people began wondering if the wedding would even happen. No updates were posted. The stepsister had stopped sharing photos. He hadn't made any comments in weeks. The energy around the event faded. 1 week before the wedding, he left town without notice. No explanation, no message. He took a bag and drove away. The stepsister called him repeatedly. He didn't answer. He stayed at a hotel by the coast, alone. The wedding was canceled the day before it was scheduled. Guests were notified by text message. Some were already in town. No further details were given. The stepsister made one last post. "Some things aren't meant to be. Moving on." The photos were deleted. He stayed in the hotel for another 3 days. Then he returned home to an empty apartment. He sat in the living room, not doing anything. The walls were bare, the counters clean, the silence full. He never told anyone why he left. And she, in the other city, never found out the wedding had been called off. She never checked. Her life remained exactly as she wanted. Stable, separate. After the canceled wedding, the apartment was quiet. He returned to find most of the stepsister's belongings already gone. A few drawers were left open, and some of her clothes still hung in the closet, but she hadn't come back. She didn't leave a note. She didn't send a message. He didn't reach out to her either. His routine became irregular. He stopped going to work for a while. He told his manager he needed personal time. No one pushed for details. He stayed indoors for days, ordered takeout, left dishes in the sink, piles of unopened mail collected by the door. He began deleting things, photos, contacts, old text chains. Everything that reminded him of the last few months. Then he moved backward, deleted older conversations, older photos, older backups. But he paused at one folder, the one filled with pictures of her, the one who left. He didn't delete that one. He kept it but moved it to a separate folder, labeled with just the year. Then he closed the laptop and didn't open it again for a week. In her new city, she continued her schedule without interruption. Her team had integrated her into the workflow system, and she now handled both process updates and internal reporting. Her manager praised her in quarterly reviews for being reliable and consistent. She didn't socialize outside work hours. She went to the same gym, the same stores, and the same park when she wanted to walk. She lived alone, kept her apartment clean, and kept to herself. No one from her old life contacted her anymore. She maintained her routine. Woke up at 6:30, gym at 7, work from 9 to 5, home by 6, dinner by 7, read or study from 8 to 10, sleep at 10:30. She didn't check news from her old city. She didn't follow old contacts. She didn't check his name online. He, on the other hand, started searching hers. At first, just once typed her name into a search engine. No results tied to her recent life. Then he tried variations, usernames she had once used, old email IDs. Still nothing. He tried social media. All blank or deactivated. He asked a mutual friend if they'd heard anything. The friend said they hadn't and didn't want to get involved. One day, he opened her old letter, the one she'd left on the kitchen table the night she walked out. He hadn't read it before. It had remained sealed in the drawer, untouched. He read it in silence. It didn't say much. Just a few sentences. I've given enough time to this. If you wanted to marry me, if you wanted me to stay, you would have asked. I won't wait anymore. That was all. He folded it back and put it away. Over the following weeks, his apartment stayed mostly dark. He stopped inviting people over. He declined all events. Eventually his friends stopped asking. The stepsister moved out officially. She posted a photo from a new apartment on her social account captioned "Fresh Start." There were no pictures of him. No mention of him. He stopped checking her page after that. He returned to work eventually, but with minimal engagement. He performed the tasks required. Didn't attend optional meetings. Didn't join group chats. Didn't talk about the wedding or what happened. His team noticed the change, but no one said anything directly. He downsized his social circle, unfollowed old contacts, cleared messages, stopped answering calls he didn't recognize. He stayed in the apartment, but removed most furniture, gave away decorative items, donated kitchenware, kept only what he used daily. Meanwhile, the woman he'd let go was selected to lead an internal audit. It meant longer hours, more responsibility, and additional pay. She accepted without hesitation. Her reports were on time. Her files were complete. Her work was clean. Her boss asked if she'd be open to mentoring new hires. She said yes, though she preferred to keep it professional. She took on a junior employee for training. He asked her once, during a casual lunch, "You always seem like you're not from here." She said, "That's because I'm not." He didn't ask more questions. She worked late often, but never complained. She stayed focused. She didn't show interest in team events. She didn't join the group chat for after-hours talk. Some coworkers speculated about her past. None knew the full story. In her free time, she studied industry certifications. Not for a career jump, but to keep herself busy. She passed 2 exams and was preparing for a 3rd. She still didn't date. She still didn't call home. Her connection to the past was closed. In his city, he ran into an old friend who asked casually, "Have you heard from her?" He said no. The friend replied, "You probably won't. She's not the type to come back." He nodded and walked away. Another week passed. Then a month. Then another. He went to a cafe one morning and thought he saw someone who looked like her. He stopped walking. But when the woman turned, it wasn't her. He left without ordering anything. At night, he sometimes looked at her old photos. Not every day, just occasionally. There were no new ones. He didn't know where she lived, what job she had, who she spent time with. She left nothing for him to track. Eventually, he stopped looking. One morning, he deleted the entire folder. Not to forget, but because there was nothing more to do. She, in her own city, marked 1 year since her move by clearing her inbox, updating her resume, and deleting the last trace of her old email address. She checked her lease agreement and renewed it again. She had no intention of returning. 1 year after she left, her company was acquired by a larger firm. As part of the transition, several departments were merged. Policies changed. Systems were replaced. Job titles were Her department was told they would be integrated into a regional team. The restructuring required employees to attend joint training sessions with staff from different cities. She was assigned to a 3-day off-site workshop held in a nearby urban center. The itinerary included lectures, collaboration activities, and technical presentations. She didn't object. She registered, packed light, and followed instructions. She arrived on time, attended all required sessions, and kept her participation minimal. The event was held at a business hotel with a standard conference center. The schedule was tight. Day 1 involved orientation and keynote talks. Day 2 was focused on group sessions and workflow exercises. Her assigned group included 2 employees from her new company's northern branch, 1 from the head office, and 1 from the southeast team. Neither of them reacted when they saw each other. She gave a polite nod, as she would to any new colleague. He returned the same. The facilitator handed out materials and assigned tasks. They sat at the same table but didn't speak directly. The others in the group didn't notice anything unusual. Throughout the session, they worked as a team. When it was his turn to present, she looked at the slides, took notes, and asked one clarifying question. When she presented her section, he listened, nodded once, and wrote something in his folder. They never brought up the past. During lunch, their group sat together at the same table. He sat across from her. She ate quietly. He asked the others about system integrations and workflow updates. She didn't join in unless addressed. After the session ended, everyone returned to their assigned hotel rooms. She took the elevator alone, went to her floor, and stayed in. Later that evening, he knocked on her door. She opened it. He said, "Can we talk?" She said, "There's nothing to talk about." He nodded once. Then said, "I'm not here to apologize." She waited. He added, "I just didn't expect this." She said, "Neither did I." She closed the door. The next morning, they met again in the same room. Sat at the same table. Worked through the scheduled materials. During a break, one of the others asked, "You two seem like you've worked together before." She said, "We were in the same city once." That was it. They completed the final session, turned in their reports, participated in a brief Q&A, collected their certificates. The event ended on time. She left immediately after, took a cab to the station. Didn't stay for the optional dinner. He saw her leave, but didn't follow. The following Monday, she returned to her office. She filed her post-event report, submitted expenses, and resumed her regular assignments. No one mentioned the encounter. He returned to his branch and requested a transfer to another team. No explanation. It was approved quietly. Weeks passed. She began to receive more projects involving cross-team collaboration. Occasionally, emails with his name appeared in shared threads. She responded when necessary, always professional. Always to the point. There were no personal messages. Her department adjusted to the post-merger structure. A new manager was assigned. She was offered a team lead position. She accepted. In the other branch, he completed his handover and took on a support role. His name became less visible in internal communication. His calendar stayed mostly empty. Back in her city, she began mentoring a new group of hires. She gave presentations on time management, work structuring, and interdepartmental processes. Her sessions were recorded and uploaded to the training portal. His department used the same portal. One day, he watched a recording of her session. He didn't comment. He didn't mention it to anyone. He watched the full hour, then closed the tab. In a monthly report, one of her team's systems was flagged for performance improvements. Her manager scheduled a consultation between branches. She was assigned as the lead representative. He wasn't on the list. But the day of the call, he was present. He didn't say anything unrelated to the task. She gave updates, addressed concerns, and laid out the next steps. He made one technical suggestion. She responded directly. The call ended after 45 minutes. No one noticed anything between them. After the meeting, he sent one email. Subject: System patch timeline. Body: thanks for the update. I'll monitor from our end. She replied. Subject: Re-system patch timeline. Body: noted. We'll inform you of next cycle. That was the entire exchange. In the following month, she completed a transition plan for a separate internal tool. Her documentation was used as a reference across branches. She was acknowledged in the newsletter under notable contributions. He saw her name, didn't respond. She didn't acknowledge the mention either. Life continued on two separate tracks. She moved to a slightly larger apartment closer to the office. She added a second monitor to her desk. She bought a new rice cooker. That was all. He sold his car. Started taking public transit. Cleaned out his apartment. Didn't replace furniture. There were no more accidental meetings. No surprise emails. No further assignments involving both of them. They had crossed paths briefly. Nothing had changed. And then, again, they moved forward separately. Months passed without any direct contact. Work routines continued. Emails were exchanged only when necessary. They stayed in different cities most of the time. Occasionally, their paths crossed at quarterly company meetings held in rotating locations. But their interactions were limited to professional greetings. She was promoted to department manager. With that came new responsibilities, overseeing projects, managing budgets, coordinating with external vendors. She accepted all tasks without hesitation. He stayed in a mid-level position in his branch. His performance reviews were average. He neither sought promotion nor voiced dissatisfaction. During the quarterly meetings, she presented project results. He attended sessions, but didn't participate in discussions related to her department. Their eyes met briefly once. No acknowledgement followed. She organized team-building activities within her department. She did not invite him. He did not expect an invitation. She relocated again, this time to a city several hours away from both previous locations, due to a new assignment. The move was approved and arranged smoothly by the company. She packed her belongings, arranged the lease termination, and signed a new lease without fanfare. He was informed of her transfer via internal memo. He made no comment. In the new city, she adjusted to the local office culture quickly. She learned the reporting lines and built relationships with local staff. She maintained professionalism in all interactions. He continued his daily routine remotely. He minimized participation in social functions. He maintained low visibility on company platforms. Their professional circles no longer overlapped. She was assigned a key role in an upcoming product launch. Her input was critical for marketing materials and client presentations. She prepared detailed briefs and coordinated feedback. He was assigned unrelated tasks on its infrastructure maintenance. No interaction was required. One day, her team's project won an internal award for efficiency improvements. The announcement was circulated company-wide. Her name appeared in press releases. He saw the news but took no action. She participated in a conference representing the company, presented on a panel about operational excellence. The event was streamed live and recorded. The company's website featured a summary with photos. He viewed the summary. No mention of her personally was made. He didn't reach out. She published an article on industry best practices in a trade journal. The article was well received and shared by professional groups. She updated her company profile with the publication link. He accessed the company's intranet. Clicked on the article. Did not comment or share. Years later, company records showed both had completed leadership training courses, but had no overlapping sessions. Their paths never converged. Neither pursued contact outside work-related necessities. When the company underwent another restructuring, she was offered an overseas position. She accepted and moved abroad. Her email address changed. Her phone number was updated. He stayed behind, continued in the same position, maintained minimal engagement. No farewell messages were exchanged, no phone calls made. She closed the chapter completely. He did not attempt to reopen it. Their shared past became a distant memory, recorded only in internal files and archived emails. No closure, no return.